This is a big day for my family. It's taken 6 months to get to this stage. This one, yeah? What's happening today? We're the first day of the trial of my murdered daughter. So that's what's happening today, yeah. Before we go any further though, I want you to know some things about our Jodi. It's hard to put 17 years worth in a nutshell. I'll try. Jodi was really funny, and she always thought of other people, like with her volunteering work. She used to love helping little kids. She loved animals. She loves animals. And there really wasn't a bad. I know, parents say this about their children, but there really wasn't a bad bone in her body, not one.
I think we bonded over our love of animals and music and funny hair dyes and food. And yeah, we were just always really close. And she'd always make sure that you were okay before herself. She was just lovely.
Jodi was a wonderful girl, very loving and caring, and she'd do anything for anyone.
Well, the last time I saw Jodi was the morning of my birthday and the morning of her death, actually. She popped her head round the stairs and said, "Happy birthday, Dad." So I said, "Thanks, love," give her a kiss, and I went out to work. That night, I went out celebrating with my brothers while Jodi and her friends went to the park. This is the last footage of her alive.
Just a normal night for us. And she'd got put all her makeup on before she came out, and we had a little talk about her lipstick and the new boots she'd got.
Maybe 9:30, got a phone call. Actually, my brother got a phone call to say that the police are coming in a van to pick you up because Jodi's been attacked.
It went from 1 minute we were all laughing and joking, and then it was just screams.
And I heard it over the radio for the controller telling the policeman to reroute back to home and don't go to the hospital anymore because there's no point.
And then the policewoman told us in the van. Sorry. They told us in the van that that Jodi had died.
Six months on, and we're nearly at the Old Bailey for the start of the trial that I hope will deliver justice for our Jodi. So this will be the first time we've come face to face with the suspects, and I just don't know, man.
The trial has got underway of 4 people accused of murdering Girl Scout Jodie Chesney.
Well, the prosecution has only just started outlining its case in front of the jury here. The prosecutor said, out of the blue, out of the night, 2 men ran across the field towards the park and walked straight up to Jodi, and without a word being exchanged, a knife was plunged into her back.
When you're in the courts, you're like 6 hours listening to this stuff, and it's just heavy, 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 so heavy, because it's so close to my heart. After the first 3 days I went, it was just killing me, man. And I didn't go back, so I haven't been back since. People say to me, "I can't imagine what you're feeling." And I say, "No, well, I pray you don't." You know what I mean? Because it's the worst thing that can ever happen to somebody, is to lose a child, especially in this manner. There she is. It's hard to come to terms with it because there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. If she had an illness or some sort of a reason that she died, but there is no reason that she died. We don't know why this person did this. We may never know.
Thank you all for coming to help us to remember Jodi.
I often wonder if the person who killed my daughter realises or even cares about the pain they have caused her friends and family.
I was sort of an introvert when I met her. Me and Jodi were very much the same in that way. We like to stay to ourselves, And I think when we started going out together, I had so much more fun, and I realised the world was a nice place to be in. Day-to-day life, can't go on with that anymore. I just don't find happiness in the things I used to, especially the things that we'd both do.
We used to talk on the phone every day. And I used to see her every day because I was around here every day. I'm here for the family, obviously, and I sort of grieve when I'm home because I want to be here for Peter and Lucy and all the rest of the family. It's very hard, I miss her so much. Do you know? I can't do no more, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it.
The toughest thing we had to do as a family was to attend Jodie's funeral. A small mercy, my brother was the vicar.
Peter asked me if I would conduct Jodie's funeral, and immediately I said yes, without thinking. And then I thought about it and realised that it would be one of the hardest things I would ever do, not just as a vicar, as a minister, but also as an uncle.
My faith is, I suppose, always important to me, but when Jodi died, it was tested, I must say, with what has happened, and certainly the people that have caused this great deal of harm to our family and pain and suffering. So for a lot of people, including myself, I'm on a journey.
Jodie Chesney was described to the jury as a talented, popular, fun young woman who judged no one and loved everyone.
So I think we're sort of halfway through the trial now. The CCTV footage and police evidence shown to the jury is so overwhelming. In my mind, the defendants are backed against the wall.
We managed to identify the car that was used. We then managed to identify the 4 people that were in the car. We managed to sort of put them in the positions in the car that we believe they were in. It forced them to admit being present at the scene, and that's a huge moment for us because the issues then for the jury become a lot more narrower.
So I made the decision to go to the court on Monday. One of the defendants is on the stand, and to be honest, I want to go and see him squirm, and I want to see him get out of it because I think it doesn't look good for them.
Been here a few times, but this is strange to see it the way it is at the moment.
My brothers have been a huge support throughout this court case.
It's just become a daily life now, the court trying to get justice for what was done, you know, so listening to the lies, listening to the nonsense that they talk, and then when they mention Jodie's name, that there angers me probably the most.
2 of the defendants are claiming they didn't know about the stabbing, so Terry and Rob have come back to the park to try and work out what happened that night.
One of them walked through, obviously both walked through, one of them murdered Jodie, went back to the car. There was a house by the tree over there. She heard the screams and came running out, for which the defendants have said, 2 of them, they didn't hear screams due to music in their car.
That's right. Yeah.
Bearing in mind the car is there, literally by the park. That house is probably 8 to 10 times further away. Well, you know, they're lying to if you look at where we are now, the distance between that part of the road to the house that was mentioned.
They must have heard the screams. Even with the music, when the doors opened, they had to have heard the screams.
Like Jodie, over 20 teenagers have been fatally stabbed this year, and that is shocking to me. You read about it, you go, oh, that sucks, you know, but when it's really close to your heart and something like this happens, you learn a little bit more about it and you wonder why people are doing this.
It is, you know, a pandemic based on the fact that it's been accepted that people can just carry knives. Because if people say it's for their protection, but you can only carry a knife if I think you're going to use it.
We have to break that cycle because the next generation is just going to get even worse and worse and worse. Myself and Lucy, Jodie's sister, have come to realise that we can use this tragedy to do something positive, to set up a charity in her name that will work to stop the cycle of knife crime and help families like ours that have been affected. The process of starting up charity is difficult, I'll tell you now. It was such a steep learning curve. Had I not got the support around me, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And the thing is, we needed to get the charity registered whilst the trial was on. But we made it, and today's the beginning of the Jodie Chesney Foundation. I'm chuffed to bits to see so many people here, and today is about a celebration of her life and the first step to creating something positive out of something so tragic. This is our maiden voyage of our charity that we've set up. It's a big football match, loads of people involved, loads of people local that are coming and surrounding areas. She was the kindest person I know. We're going to carry that on, that kindness, to try and make a difference. So the lives that we're trying to help are the sort of lives that killed my daughter. And so I want to make a difference. But being out there in the public eye while grieving and going through the trial is beginning to affect my mental health. Talking about Jodie all the time, with the charity and working on stuff, it's Jodie, 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 Jodie all the time, so it's always on my mind. It's always on my mind anyway, but when you're working on a charity like we are, Jodie gets mentioned a lot, so it's kind of emotionally draining. Everyone who is close to Jodie has been traumatised in one way or another by her death.
It hurts. It does hurt, because that moment is always in my head, and it is always replaying. Sometimes, you know, you think, well, what could I have done? Or could we have done anything differently? Or could we have maybe stayed a little bit like less of a time and it wouldn't have happened? But we can't change what happened. And it does kill us all a little bit. And we did all lose a piece of ourselves that night when we lost her.
It's the second launch event of the Jodie Chesney Foundation, but at the last minute I experienced anxiety I've never experienced before. I was going to go to the start of the line and set off one of these cannons. Woke up in the morning, I knew there was going to be well over 300 people there, cameras, and I couldn't do it. The anxiety kicks in. Today, Judge Wendy Joseph QC finished a review of the evidence and the jury retired to consider its verdicts on each defendant. It's tough, as I worry the jury won't see the evidence in a way we do, you know? You just don't know if they will return a guilty verdict.
I've never experienced a case with as much pressure in all my time dealing with murders. It felt like the world was watching. It felt like, you know, we had the family that were devastated. And when I met the family initially, you know, all I could ever do to them was promise that we would do our best to try and get answers for them, try and identify those responsible and try and get justice. I could never promise what the outcome would be.
We just got a call. The jury are ready to pronounce the verdict.
2 teenagers have been found guilty of murdering 17-year-old Jodie Chesney, who was stabbed in a park in East London in March.
The 2 people that were in the park have been sentenced to murder, which I'm over the moon about. The other 2, it would have been good if they got it as well, because I believe they knew what they were doing. But look, we got 2 out of 4, and I'm happy with the verdict, 100%. So we got them.
Justice for Jodie.
Yeah, for Jodie. I went through so many emotions while they were deliberating. When we actually got the verdict we wanted, it was an overwhelming feeling of elation. I was very happy and sad, and all of those feelings rolled into one. The Met Police have been fantastic throughout this whole thing. They've been good support. The work they did was massive.
Ultimately, the 4 people in the car know why they went to the park. I believe that Jodie wasn't the intended target. As I say, Jodie was an amazing girl. So unfortunately for Jodie's family, I don't think we'll ever really know the real motive behind this.
The way I feel about the people that did this is, I do hate them, of course, and they deserve to be dealt with, but I'm not going to spend my life hating. You know, I've learnt that from other parents that I've met, and they say that to me, please don't spend your life hating and hating, because it's going to eat you up inside. And I don't want to do that. And I know Jodie wouldn't want that of me. she's going to want me to be the best version of myself.
Forgiveness is core to our faith. Christ died on the cross to forgive us for all the mistakes and the things that we do wrong, not only just yesterday and today, but going forward. But it also tells us that we should forgive others as he's forgiven us. Forgiveness is not easy, and nor should it be.
I'm not, I wish I could play, but I'm no good, so otherwise I'll play you a song. But she was really very good. Ah, messed it up. I terribly miss being able to ask Jodie to play the piano for me. I miss everything about her. Beautiful.